And I don't normally like to do that, but he put me in a really difficult position. And I actually wound up giving him what I had in my pocket, which was 50 reais, which at the time was about 20 bucks. So it wasn't as much as he wanted, but it was a bribe. So even he, who claimed he was being honest and not on the take, was on the take. Now, just in his defense, you know, the drug gangs in the favelas do play for keeps. And, you know, when I was in Rocinha, I heard a lot of stories from all sorts of people about a supposed clandestine cemetery that was up in the woods beyond, up in the jungle beyond the favela, beyond where the houses were. And people said that that's where the drug gang took people to kill them. And the story that I was told, it's a story, was that they would seize the people in their homes, march them up there, make them dig a shallow grave, shoot them, push them into the grave, and cover them over. Now, as a reporter, every bone in my body said, let's go there, you know? Find it, it's a great story, it's life and death in one moment, you know? Be a great story to come home with. But I'm, I guess, a bad reporter because I didn't go. Every time I had the instinct to go, I found something else to do. I hung out with friends, I went to play basketball, I had another beer, whatever it was, and I never went up there. Is it a true story? I don't know. But I do know two things. One is that I took some friends who are researchers on infrastructure and squatter communities, one from Egypt and one from France, through the favela. And one of them wanted to take a picture in an area called Valão. That was one of the centers, or supposed centers, of drug dealing. It happens to have an open sewage channel running through it that's about 10 feet wide, and that happened to be what he was interested in. He wanted a picture of the sewage channel. So I looked around, and there didn't seem to be any suspicious activity. So I said, all right, I'll let you take a picture. Then we went hiking all over the favela, and 3 hours later, we were completely across the hill in another zone. And the guy I had never seen before emerged from the shadows at a bus stop and seized my friend by the hand and said, in Portuguese, "Why were you taking pictures of my house?" My friend didn't speak Portuguese, so I got in between. And he repeated, and I tried to explain, you know, we're ignorant foreign researchers. He's researching infrastructure. He was interested in the sewer. And I, you know, he was really angry. He accepted my explanation, but he never said it was fine, never shook hands, just turned around and walked away. And that's how the message is sent, right? We know what you're doing. We know where you are at every moment in the favela. The drug gangs do have eyes and ears, and there are a lot of people who serve as watchers for them. It's certainly not a majority of the community. And you know, movies like City of God do make it out to be a majority of the community, and it's not. The majority of the community are the vegetable salesman and the waitress and all sorts of people who are not involved in any way in the drug trafficking. But it's there, and it's powerful. And other people, I'm sure, have had, I know that Gabe will probably tell you tomorrow at the photo exhibit that he's had other run-ins with the drug gangs. This was a very modest one, you know. No one got hurt, no one got threatened, and they accepted my explanation. But they do know what's going on. And the second thing I know involves a clandestine cemetery, which is that 3 months after I left Rio, a very popular television reporter, Tim Lopez, disappeared while doing an undercover report on drug gangs in a North Zone favela in Rio, Villa Cruzeiros. And later on, his remains were identified by DNA tests on ashes found in a clandestine cemetery found at the top of one of the hills in the Zona Norte favelas. So being a journalist, being a outsider, doesn't serve for much if people really want to go after you. It so happened that Tim Lopez was doing a hidden camera piece, and so he was courting problems, I would say. But, you know, there is a reality to the dangers that are portrayed in movies like City of God. They glorify the violence, they pay more attention to it than is necessary. But it's there. You know, and I think we have to be frank about it. You know, the real City of God is neither glorified nor as controlling of life in the favelas as the movie makes it out to be. But it's there. And you know, we all have to be aware of that. So let me say a bit about the rest of the world. Squatters have achieved quite a bit. And what I was amazed by in my travels, as Paul said, I went to Brazil, Turkey, Kenya, and India. And I lived for 3 months in each squatter community. I picked a community within the major cities in those countries, and I lived there. And it's amazing to see what people have built. I mean, we think of squatter communities as the most deprived places in the world. But given staying power and permanence and security, people really build amazing things. Many of the buildings in Rocinha are 2, 3, 4, 5 stories tall, water tanks on the roof, you know, built to quite a high standard. The same is true in Turkey, where most of the squatter buildings are indistinguishable from the legal neighborhoods of Istanbul. Things are more primitive in India and Kenya. And the reason for that is really squatters gaining a sense that they're not going to be evicted. They're not going to be bulldozed. And having a degree of political power, using